Today we're talking about Shem angel number 3, Sitael. Sitael. This is a Shem angel associated with 10 to 15 degrees of Aries, Sitael. Shem angel number 3. And this Shem angel is associated with greatness, nobility, greatness, and great employment, and the seeking after truth. So you could see several things going on with this angel. The divine attribute is God the Hope. So God the Hope, Deus Spes. What is my source for this? Athanasius Kircher's Oedipus Egyptiacus, Volume 1, page 275, 280 of the PDF, which I've been providing. It is in Latin, but this text is from the 17th century, 1654, and this talks about the divine attributes in psalm verses. So the 17th century source, the divine attribute, many people find it useful to contemplate the divine attributes and the psalm verse of the angel, and because each Shem angel has a psalm verse and a divine attribute associated in the 17th century Oedipus Egyptiacus by Athanasius Kircher. This text from the 17th century mentions this. So we see the attribute is Deus Spes, hope of God. So there's an aspect of hope, turning to the divine with hope. Once again, and then also, what is the psalm verse? Now, I talk about different traditions of magic, and I try to make sure that everyone is comfortable with my videos. In these videos, I'm talking about Shem angel magic, and people are free to interpret this how they want, but I tend to focus on the history, the historical lore of the Shem angels. And in the history of the Shem angels, traditionally, there is a psalm verse associated with each angel, and this is usually interpreted as using the psalm verse as part of the call. So you see this in the Divine Cabal, you see this in Lazar Linane, you see this in a lot of this classical literature, is the use of the psalm verse. If anything, the psalm verse and the divine attribute, these are things that link with that specific angel, that mark it off as distinct. The name, psalm verse, and attribute. Think of these as a type of triangle. These three things together work together to help establish contact, according to the old Renaissance methodology. Psalm verse, divine attribute, name. The divine attribute here has to do with hope, looking to the divine with hope. The psalm verse is, according to Athanasius Kircher's Oedipus Egyptiacus, the psalm verse is in the Masoretic text. It's Psalm 91, verse 2, which is, and quote, "I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust." So I'm going to read that again. "I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, and Him will I trust." So you get this idea of the psalm verse of putting your trust in the divine. The divine is your defense, is your fortress. It is your strength and your refuge, your sanctuary to get respite. And again, Deus Spes, God the Hope. And people will have different opinions on Shem angels and the psalm verses and all of that. That's fine. People can have different opinions. I'm just here to try to talk about the lore and the history. So according to Agrippa in the 16th century, each Shem angel is associated 5 degrees each of the zodiac, the quinaries. This is found in Agrippa. And then projecting from Vehuya, 0 degrees Aries, we come to Sitael from 10 to 15 degrees. Now, I'm actually like 2 or 3 days late. I'm a little bit late. I need to start doing these like on point every time because I'm helping people, and if I'm going to be guiding people, I need to be on point. But I've had a lot going on, so I'm slightly late, but we still have a couple of days left. So there's a couple days left to work with this angel if you're following the sun through the tropical zodiac like I do. Then there's still a couple days left. And yep, so I'm going to try to be more on point with the timing. But in the Psalm verse, we also get this idea of relying upon the divine. Okay, so relying upon the divine. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. And again, the divine attribute is Deus Spes, God the hope. The office, this angel rules over now this source. I try to always quote my sources and provide my sources, and I will do that in a link when I'm finished. But the office, what is the source? The office tells what the angel governs. This actually comes late in Shem angel history and lore. This actually comes late. Hold on just a second here. All right, so dang it. What was I so the Shem angels, what was I going to say? Oh, the office. The office talks about what each angel governs. This was late. This doesn't appear until 1823. 1823. The science of Kabbalah. So this is from the 19th century, 1823. This is where we get the office. So this is hundreds of years later. But many people, myself included, find these offices useful and they work. So even if it's a late edition, before 1823, with the publication of the Science of Kabbalah, people were mostly left with the name, divine attribute, and psalm verse. So that's why these are important. It's all we had. The office given here. So what does the office say? According to the Science of Kabbalah, or La Science Kabbalistique of Lazare Lenain, published in 1823, I like people to remember the dates to kind of separate the sources in their minds to kind of get an idea. The office. This angel rules over nobility. Nobility, magnanimity. That's greatness of soul. Okay, charitableness, greatness of spirit or soul. So yeah. So this angel rules over nobility, magnanimity, and great employment. It protects against weapons and ferocious beasts. That's interesting. So let's say that someone's in the military or something, or somehow someone has a dangerous whatever, or let's say someone lives in a rough neighborhood. Whatever reason someone might want protection against weapons or beasts, this is an angel you can call on. The person born under this influence loves the truth. He will keep his word and be happy to oblige those who need his or her services. So more or less, this angel, you get the idea of greatness, of greatness of spirit, of nobility, of great employment, of grandness. Okay, I would say that you can work with this angel for employment. That is how I would interpret employment here, is like job, literally. And also you can call on this. So you can call on this angel for greatness of any kind. You can call on this angel for job related things. You can call on this angel for protection from physical harm, from weapons and ferocious beasts, or I would say like physical harm, like attack. The person born under this influence loves the truth, will keep his word and be obliged to those who need his services. So truth seeking, employment, greatness of spirit, protection, there are many things that you can work with this angel with. Now, I already know what I want to ask for. So if what I talked about in a recent video is that there are 3 ways to work with the Shem angels: magic, prayer, and contemplation. Magic, prayer, and contemplation. Magic is ritual. Lighting of candles and incense and purification and doing the whole thing. You may use a scrying stone. Try to see something in the crystal ball when you call on the Shem angel. There's all kinds of things you can do with magic. Try to, do incantations, all these things. Magic, the difference between magic and prayer is that it usually involves more props, more ritual, more tools, things like that. But really, where do you draw the line? At the end of the day, we're just arguing over words. Tomato, tomato, but there does seem to be a distinction. It's useful to distinguish. There's the approach of magic, which most people are familiar with that watch these videos. 2, the method of prayer. Now, this is very important. We need to remember that there are many people that work with Shem angels that they don't want to do a big elaborate ritual. They may not want to go take a bath and put on a ritual robe and do the thing and light the incense and this whole elaborate thing. They may just want to light a candle, say a prayer. So prayer, we need to remember that prayer is a valid form of communication with the Shem angels. So prayer absolutely, in my opinion, should take its place, okay, right up there with magic. Prayer. So you don't have to do a big elaborate ritual. If all you can do is say a prayer, honestly, in my opinion, let's say you want to cycle through the Shem angels. If nothing else, let's say you're like, just say a prayer. Say the name, recite the psalm verse if you're comfortable with that. Recite the divine attribute. Try to establish contact. Okay? Ask for something within the office of the angel. I recommend asking for one thing per angel as we cycle through. If you're following that, I recommend asking for one thing. I don't recommend asking for more as my person. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to listen to anything I say. In my opinion, when you ask for more than one thing at a time, though, I mean, you can, but I think sometimes it can cause issues in my personal experience, for whatever that's worth, okay? But you have to draw on your own experience as you practice the work, okay? But I think it's good to ask for one thing. When I was younger and I did magic, honestly, I didn't ask for much when I was younger. Because what draws people to magic are different things. What draws many people to magic is a desire for power or wealth or things. What's always called me was always primarily a spiritual and a religious type of yearning, which goes directly against more of the just strictly practical elements. However, witchcraft is thaumaturgy or theurgy, however we define, using the old Greek terms here. Both are very important. But I found that my own personal approach, I found that I get better results when I ask for something material. Oddly enough, so when I was younger and doing all this magic, actually working with the Shem angels, I didn't ask for much. I just wanted a spiritual experience. And I noticed sometimes, and it could just be my imagination. Never mind. I'm not going to go into my own personal verified analysis too much. But anyways, I just found it useful. So yeah. So I wanted to make a couple of announcements, and we're going to do the ritual together with Sitael, if you're down. Those of you that are interested, we're actually going to apply the prayer method to establish a contact. And then contemplation. I said there are 3 ways to contact the Shem angels: magic, prayer, contemplation. What is contemplation? How does that relate? You could, so contemplating the divine attribute embodied in the angel and the psalm verse, and thinking of the zodiac degrees, turning these things in the mind, okay, as a way to kind of internalize the essence of the angel. Some people find this to be transformative without uttering a word of prayer, without uttering a word of ritual. That internal connecting with the angel, maybe a connection with an angel doesn't have to be verbal or ritualistic. Maybe there is a contemplative approach. And this is beginning to take more space in the occult community. You see more and more of an approach with a contemplative approach. You see occult orders based primarily upon this method, such as those like the builders of the adytum that use a contemplative working with the symbols method to work through a system of mysticism in the Western esoteric tradition. Now, I wanted to make a couple of announcements. On my Patreon, I'm about to start a tarot course. And this is a pretty elaborate, it's going to go in pretty good detail. I'm going to talk more about it in more videos, but that's going to be for Patreon subscribers only. Those that subscribe to my Patreon, I'm going to get a tarot course, and we're going to be working through the 22 trumps. Emphasis will be placed upon the Thoth deck, but we'll be looking at various decks, okay? So that is a totally different tradition. I talk about different aspects of magic because there are different traditions, and to me it's important that we preserve various traditions. We don't want any of these traditions to die, whether it's my main tradition or not. And tarot, I think, is it is a modern magic approach that's different from Shem angels, although some people technically mix them because of the deacons and stuff, but that's a whole other topic. My approach to Shem angels is classical magic. When I talk about tarot, that is modern magic. But tarot course for Patreon members only. I'm going to have more info coming out on that. And then also, I wanted to announce, dang it, there was another thing. There was the Patreon thing. Oh yeah, Agrippa. So I read Agrippa, those of you that don't know, I've started reading the 3 books of occult philosophy, working through the chapter by chapter. So if you want to hear Agrippa read in a southern accent, then that's coming up, y'all. I already did chapter 1, so chapter 2 should be coming up tomorrow, and we're going to work through it. Now, back to Sitael. Now, first things first, we need something within the office of the angel. This angel is very versatile, okay? This angel could be used for bodily protection from attacks or assault. It could be used for employment, work, anything dealing with greatness, magnanimity. I would put any kind of like employment or defense here. And also the pursuit of knowledge. So this is a very versatile angel. But one word of advice, as the divine attribute implies, hope of God, this needs to be something that is really important to you, in my opinion. Hope of God. This implies a sense of like deep need. This is not a mere want. This is a deep internal yearning, something that is important. People often ask me, what should I ask for? And I always respond the same. Something within the office of the angel that is close to your heart. Is there something close to your heart that relates to employment, protection of yourself or others, or the pursuit of truth? So think of something. We call the name of the angel. The name itself has power within it. And then we're going to recite the psalm verse, and we're going to use the prayer method. We're going to do this together, y'all. We're going to use the method of prayer. So we're not using the method of magic with all the incense and candles and stuff. We're not using the contemplative method. Oh, by the way, you could also make a Shem angel pentacle. Again, there's a modern approach, and use that for like your meditations and stuff. But that's another thing. Because I talk about modern methods as well. Anyways, so Sitael. First things first, we're going to call on the name of the angel. We're using the prayer method. People can call it magic, but I would consider it kind of magic-y, kind of prayer, because there's not a whole bunch of equipment and stuff. But here we go. Sitael. I want you to know, by the way, just by listening and learning about the angel, already a certain amount of contact is probably being made. And I don't want to spook people, but I think if people are listening to this, I think there are many people that, in my opinion, I am a believer, that are drawn to this for a reason, because they're meant to work with Sitael. Not everybody, but I think a lot of people that maybe come to this video, it's for a purpose. So here we go. If you're comfortable and you, the viewer, want to do this with me, let's say the name together. Say it with me, Sitael. In English letters, Sitael, 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 okay? So if you want to call the angel with me, I encourage the viewer, whether you're listening live or watching later on, say the name with me, Sitael, Sitael, Sitael. And we're putting our mind, we're putting our focus upon establishing a contact with the angel. Okay, this is important. We're putting our focus on establishing contact. Sitael, Sitael, Sitael. Say the name with me, Sitael, Sitael, Sitael. We call upon you. Okay? Say it with me. We're using the more of the prayer method. Say it with me. Sitael, we call upon you, Sitael. Now, traditionally, the psalm verse goes with the call or the invocation. For those of you that are comfortable with that, I am very, I do it. So here we go. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him will I trust. Sitael. Do you feel a presence? Whether it's just my own subjective experience alone or not, I definitely do. Do you feel a presence now? I feel it. I've also been cycling through these angels for the last 6 months, nonstop. I've hit each and every single angel, and it's been transformative. So the office is, so have you called the angel? Sitael. Again, I'm going to read the psalm verse, and we're going to try to establish contact. I will say, you can say it with me, I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him will I trust. So Sitael. So what can we ask for? Something that's important to you within His office. Let me read His office. This angel rules over nobility, magnanimity, and great employment. It protects against weapons and ferocious beasts. The person born under this influence loves the truth. He will keep His word and be happy to oblige those who need His services. And actually, I did my own translation of the original French. However, for those of you that don't speak French or want to go through all that work like I did, you can get the English copy of Le Science Kabbalistique, The Science of Kabbalah by Pierce Vaughn. I'm going to provide a link. Actually, I already did, y'all. Hey, heavens, yeah. I already did. I almost said hell yeah, but heavens yeah. This book right here, by the way, I did, past tense. Providing a link to Amazon, if you click it and buy it, I do get a commission, full disclosure. They are, when I put hashtag ad after an Amazon link, it means that it's commission. I do get a commission, helps to monetize and support my work. So, the Science of Kabbalah, I would take it with a grain of salt, some of it. And this book bugs me. Even though I use it, it bugs me. You know why? Many people view the whole tradition through the lens of this book. This book was written by some French occultist in 1823. It's great. I love it. I love The Office, whatever. It's great. Some people tend to view the whole tradition through the lens of this guy. And he does a lot of wonky things. He does a lot of stuff that he's just making up. So there's like a whole Shem angel tradition previous to him, but I really like his offices, and his 20-minute cycle is interesting. So, the office of Sitael. Let's see what this translation says, because I did my own French translation. Sitael, it says here, yep, and it agrees with the Psalm 2nd verse. Okay, I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in him will I trust. Okay, he rules over nobility, magnanimity, and great works. Oh, this says great works instead of great employment. No. He protects against arms and ferocious beasts. A person born under this influence loves truth, keeps his word, and takes pleasure in helping those who need assistance. Pretty much what I said. Yeah. So, think of something that you need. Do you need protection, something to do with employment, or something to do with truth seeking? And if not, do you know someone else that may be in desperate need? That's something to keep in mind. It might be that right now, there's nothing that important for you. But maybe your cousin or neighbor just lost a job and needs help or something. Maybe there's someone you know that could use some help. Maybe you have family that's in the military. Maybe you want to ask for them. So there's the thing. You don't have to just ask for yourself. Okay? Now there's a whole... I can't just break down all magic in one video. I have to stop somewhere. But this is up to each person. There's a whole morality and ethics issue. Some people say never do ritual without permission. But those people can just ask. Ask, do you mind if I do a prayer or a ritual for you? And then some people don't have any ethical problem doing this stuff. So it's up for you as an individual. Many people follow, though, the idea that you shouldn't do magic for someone without asking. So I just want people to come up with their own opinions. But, there are many people that watch my videos that are occultists, magicians, obviously, that have been doing this for many years. But there are also some people watching my videos that are new to magic. And this is their chance to hear all this stuff. So it's helpful to those people. So I always have to keep both groups of people in mind. So let's ask for something with the angel. Again, employment, truth-seeking, defense. So here we go. Think of something that you need or want, and we're going to ask the angel. The angel is present among us, so here we go. Okay, we're doing a session together. We're doing it live, y'all. Here we go. I'm going to ask for what I want to ask for because I take this stuff seriously. I believe in it. I wouldn't have been doing it all this time. I believe, and so I'm going to do this. And I want you, the viewer, also to ask something of the angel. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to ask, you ask. Okay, so here we go. Think of something within the office, and we're going to ask the angel. Now, it's very important, in my opinion, after you tell the angel what you want, you put your request, that we pass a few moments in silence. Why? We pass a few moments in silence at the end to listen for any kind of impressions, feelings, thoughts, ideas that may come to the surface as a communication from the angel. And, as I always say, with anything with this thing, we want to be open-minded to possibility. We want to be open to the possibility, but also we don't want to necessarily give objective reality to anything we experience. So this is the balancing act. We want to be open to possibilities, open-minded, but just because we have an experience doesn't make it real. But we're going to balance these, okay? This is where magic gets dangerous, but we're going to do this now. We're going to listen. Let's pass a few moments in silence in the presence of Sitael. And I want y'all to listen. I'm going to do the same. We're going to listen for any kind of impressions or thoughts that may come to the surface as a communication. So here we go. All right, y'all. So there we go. So we've done the ritual here. If you're coming in late, we just finished the ritual. That's why I wasn't just dozing off. Okay, I was communicating. All right. So here we go. So we did our ritual together. All right. We called the angel using the divine attributes, name, and psalm verse. We asked for something within the office of the angel, and we listened to be receptive to any impressions we may receive. If you did receive something impactful, I recommend you write it down and date it. Lastly, we need to dismiss, okay? You may have your own way to do this based on your ritual practice, but I'm just going to do very simple prayer method. Sitael, we thank you for taking this time with us and listening to our petitions, and we do ask for your blessings upon us. And Sitael, we ask you peacefully depart, goodbye and farewell. Sitael, we ask that you peacefully depart, goodbye and farewell. Bye. Okay, so Echo done. All right, y'all. So I've started getting more focused on my video. I say that, but as those words come out of my mouth, I do wander a lot. But I'm focused on Sitael, Shem angels, okay? Or today, or we're reading Agrippa, or whatever we're doing in that video. I'm trying to keep it focused on one thing. So we did our work with Sitael. I was a little bit late, but there's a couple of days left. And again, you don't even have to use timing necessarily. And there's also the 20-minute cycle of Linane, which I talk about in my videos. Too much to go into here. Those of you that want to follow, you don't have to. Those of you that choose to follow the sun through the tropical zodiac, there's a couple days left. So we got some time, y'all. So I hope that Sitael, I hope that y'all have a good time with Sitael. I really encourage y'all, research. Take the next couple of days to research, learn about Sitael. Try doing something with this angel. Pray to the angel, just a prayer. Light a candle, light some incense, say a prayer to Sitael, say the psalm verse, see what happens. Okay? Maybe do some astral projection. There's a bunch of different approaches. Okay? My mentor or teacher that I've had for many years in grimoire magic, he's very traditional by the book. He doesn't use these modern methods. I use modern methods and classical. I do both. But there are many people that don't use any kind of modern. They think all of that's new age. But there are different approaches, okay? And I think that we should not discard anything in our toolkit. over purism or dogma. I think we should be willing to experiment and tinker with things and see what works. But anyways, so tomorrow I'm going to continue my reading of Agrippa. Okay, tomorrow it's going to be 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, Book 1, Chapter 2. Okay, and I'm going to keep working through Agrippa. And like I said, there's more. I'm going to talk more about it, but I'm going to have a tarot course, a pretty good elaborate tarot course coming out. That's going to be for Patreon only. So more stuff coming out. And I wanted to thank everyone for coming in here and stopping by to say hello. And thank you, Patience. And let me see here. I'm just going through the comments real quick because I don't want to leave anyone out. It might be that someone said something. And all right. So tomorrow we're going to continue with Agrippa. And we're going to have a Agrippa audiobook. And tarot, and we're going to continue with the Shem angels. Lots of great stuff for to come. If y'all are coming in now, I'm actually ending the live, but once it processes, the whole thing will be there. Today we worked with Sitael, the next Shem angel. So more to come. Thank you everyone for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video. Have a great day, y'all. Oh, and be sure and check out my Patreon. Because there's going to be more material that's just available for that. So anyways, I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I will see y'all next time. Have a great day, y'all.